joining virtually Bolu Michael-Biyi, a public affairs analyst from the United Kingdom. Thank you so much for your time, Bolu.
My pleasure.
All right, interesting times once again in Somalia. Now, we know that Al-Shabaab is an affiliate of the Al-Qaeda group, has been raging an insurgency against the Somali government since 2006, all in a bid to establish its own rule based on strict interpretation of Islam. Now, what do you make of insurgency, particularly in the Sahel?
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate that it's been ongoing for quite some time, and it's such a very complex ongoing concern. And what these insurgents do is that they employ guerrilla tactics to try to take over the government of the day. They capitalize on the political instability, poverty, or external conflict in order to be able to take over the government. And what makes the situation in the Sahel even more complex is that it's been long-standing, and the affiliation with Al-Qaeda, which is an even more powerful group, and they pose a lot of threats, not only to the region, but other parts of the world as well. So it's very important that the government begin to tackle poverty and try to solve this insurgency, challenge from its roots.
Now, before we get into, the crux of this particular story, let's look at the efforts, the sub-region has made in recent years, particularly in tackling this. I could choose to even call it a pandemic right now because it's affecting both not just the political life, the social life, the economic, well-being of this particular region and the border countries too. What do you make of efforts put together by the sub-region in this fight, knowing fully well that this particular group has thousands of fighters, as well sponsored, seems super coordinated, and of course are well trained too?
Yeah, because of how resilient Al-Shabaab is, it's quite difficult to actually dislodge them. They have the skill, they have the expertise, as well as the weapons to actually push back against government efforts. They're actually quite resilient. They make use of guerrilla tactics. They blend among the local population, which even makes military operations very difficult. So I guess this is some of the reasons why the challenge has been long-standing, and it seems like the efforts that has been taken by the regional bodies is not really yielding result. The opponent they're fighting is actually very, very tough. Also, the terrain is very complex and difficult to maneuver. In terms of areas, I'll call them second to hell. Which Al-Shabaab is kind of like very used to. However, the militants or even people who are helping from abroad are really not used to this terrain, and it appears that these people within that terrain as well have the support. The Al-Shabaab has the support of the locals in the area. So it's very tough, and the efforts that have been taken so far, I want to believe they're doing the best they're able to. But Al-Shabaab is really tough to defeat.
All right, let's bring it back to Somalia right now, looking at the effort of the Somali government. There has been an offensive, particularly one that was significant in 2002 that managed to recapture some territories in central Somalia, which happens to be one of the strongholds of the Al-Shabaab. But the campaign suffered significant setback last year. Why do you also think that is?
Yeah, I think I will tie it to a couple of things. What I said earlier, being that Al-Shabaab is a very resilient group, and the terrain that they are operating is also very complex to navigate. I think another thing that may have affected this setback is the internal disagreements or lack of structure within the Somali government. There's a lot of rivalry. There's a lack of cohesion and cooperation and collaboration within the Somali government, which weakens their ability to actually present a united front against a common enemy. And also, the region as a whole, it's very unstable. There's a conflict in between Eritrea, Ethiopia, which makes the priority of Somalia to change from time to time because they are also tackling issues with other neighboring countries. So I think the challenge in diverting resources and also military personnel may have led to a little bit of setback because their priority must have changed along the line.
I mean, Bolu, we know that in this very unfortunate incident that happened, two Somali men and several foreigners, according to that report, were on board. And of course, we also understand that many more were taken hostage by the militants. Now, I mean, two officers, according to that report, also has it that were also captured. But it's not clear exactly, in the exact number of people captured and also if some of them did manage to escape. The bottom line is that at the moment, information as regards the well-being of those captured, allegedly captured, I would explain why I'm using that word, allegedly captured right now, seems unknown. Why do you think at this time, in terms of exact details, actual details, we cannot verify? Nothing is verified at the moment. And we know that, allegedly, the lives of these people, by the second, is at stake.
Okay, yeah, I get the point. The government is claiming responsibility and that they're leading the rescue efforts. The United Nations, WFP, is denying ownership and says that none of their personnel are on board. If I should go by, personal, experience being part of the UN system or a similar system, I'll be biased, towards the, in favor of the UN to say that, okay, truly they have no other personnel, but because they know the number of people that they send a mission, they know the number of people they are supporting, and it's a highly bureaucratic organization. So I'm tilted to want to, I'm kind of tilting towards the UN. However, it's important that one, we have the details in full. So let's see what unfolds before I can really say take a position on that, because is a currently potentially sensitive issue and requires further investigation. But what matters the most is that it shouldn't really matter, who did what or whose staff is on board. The point is that these are human lives and they're being held hostage and they need help. So it's on humanitarian grounds and important for them to be rescued and leave the details, or for them to leave the details of who owns what or who is on board, who owns the helicopter away. I think that's very important.
I'm still going to stay on it because, you just brought the words straight right out of my mouth. The next question being, the United Nations actually claiming that they are not privy to this particular incident. We know that late on Wednesday, the United Nations World Food Programme, the largest humanitarian operator in Somalia, said the helicopter did not belong to the United Nations as a humanitarian air service and that none of its personnel were on board. Now, this is actually a twist to the narrative. I know that you said that because actual details have not been verified yet, you might not really be able to go into, the crux. But why would the UN deny ownership, even though we know the story says that the said helicopter was contracted, allegedly contracted by the United Nations? Why do you think that they might want to deny ownership?
Yeah, but it may be because they just don't want to, they probably have enough on their plate already. The WFP is the largest humanitarian program that's ongoing in the country, in Somalia at the moment. They probably have enough on their hands and they don't want to really dabble into a new unfolding case. That may be a reason, but like we both agree, it's important for for us to establish more and more facts. Let's see what unfolds in the next few days. But these are some of, I think, just not wanting to be culpable, involved in something that is currently unfolding may be one of the reasons why they're denying ownership. But maybe further investigation will reveal that they're actually the owners of the helicopter. So let's see what happens in the next few days.